Okay, we are still working on our little book of change. This is part 2. So if you haven't watched part 1 yet, you need to go back and watch part 1 and then come join us in part 2. But we finished writing our first generalization, which is changes everywhere. And I'm not the best artist. I tried to draw a picture of the earth and to show that change is everywhere, that you can draw a picture of the entire solar system or the galaxy, the universe, because that kind of shows everywhere, I think, anyway. So draw, and then we're going to do some coloring. Now if you want to do your drawing first and then go back and do a little bit of coloring, that's okay too. But coloring it's good for your hands. It strengthens your hands up. All right. So, and we're not coloring giant pictures. We're just coloring little pictures. Okay, so I'm just working on drawing a solar system here, and if you wanted to actually draw all the planets in the order that they appear, you could do that, or you could just do just a picture of space. It's up to you. And if you don't want to draw a picture of space, if you want to draw another picture that shows that change is everywhere, that's okay too. You could draw a picture of a change happening somewhere in space, or change happening somewhere else in the world besides where we live. Just something to show that change is everywhere. Mars is kind of red. I remember memorizing the order of all of the planets, and I have forgotten it since then, but I need to go back and learn that again. I know in second grade they changed what we're supposed to teach you, so I believe now we're going to be talking a little bit more about the moon and space. So it would be a good time for me, and you too, you could learn more about space. And I've got Saturn here. I used to have a car that was a Saturn. It was a good car. First car I had when I was teaching school, but they don't make them anymore. So I'm going to finish coloring this, and you as well. So hit pause, and you can finish up this page, and then we'll move on to the next page in just a minute. So go ahead and hit pause. Okay, I've finished this page, and I forgot to tell you to make sure you label all of your pictures. All right, so I just labeled this the universe. Okay, so let's move on. And make sure you only turn one page. And I'm just going to put, if this was 2, I'm going to put just a teeny tiny little 3 down here in the corner. And we're ready to move on to our second generalization. Okay, so let's see if you remember what that one is. And the second generalization was change happens over time. So yeah, even as we're making the pages of this book, change is happening. We're changing this paper, and it's happening over time. Time is always passing. We can't stop it. So our second generalization is change happens over time. Change happens over time. And for this one, I like to draw a clock because that is an easy way to show time. And the clock goes to 12. And right now, what time is it? It's about 1 o'clock. So I can put this clock on 1 o'clock. You can put the time on your clock, whatever it is, right now while you're making this. But 1 o'clock, so the hour hand is going to point to the 1. That's the shorthand. And the minute hand is going to point up to the 12. The minute hand's longer. So 1 o'clock. Now, on this page, and you know what? I have a red clock in my classroom. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trace red around my clock. And if you want to draw a different that's okay too. Now, on this side, what we're going to do is fold this one page in half, like this, so it comes right to this. So you take this piece of paper and you fold it in half so that it's touching here. So I'll show you one more time. I just took one sheet and I folded it in half so it was touching right here. And then I opened it back up again. God, there are just these dogs outside barking it up. Let me go see what the problem is, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we folded this piece of paper. So we have two sections here. We fold it in half. And on this side, you're going to write a quick change. A quick change. And on this side, you're going to write a slow change. So we have a quick change and a slow change. Now you get to go back and you can either think of new changes in your head, you can go back and look at changes that you wrote on your papers when we talked about this. But I want you to draw and label a quick change here, okay? And I'm not going to say any because I don't want you to take my ideas. I want you to think of your own. So I want you to think of your own quick change, whatever it is, and label it at the bottom. That's super important. And then you need to draw a slow change here draw a picture and color it of any sort of slow change, what you think is a slow change, and then label it down here. Okay, so something that takes a long time, and color it, and then we'll move on to the next page. So go ahead and hit pause while you're doing that. Okay, I changed my mind. I'm going to let you see what my quick change and my slow change are. So just notice that they are labeled, but I'd love you to think of something that aren't mine. When you're done with your second generalization of change, let's move on to the third generalization of change. And this was page 4. I'm just putting teeny tiny down there because this doesn't match with the generalization. So our third generalization of change was, I want you to remember, get out my poster. Change may be positive or negative. Remember, positive is happy, negative is bad, or positive is good, negative is bad in this case. Okay, and I remember that one way I remember that is that this P here, I can put a smiley in it, and this O, I can put a smiley in it, but there's no place for me to put any smileys, okay, in the first couple of letters here. So I've got circles here I can put smileys in. That's just how I remember it. You can remember it however you want to. So let's write this down. I'm going to give you just a second to write it down. And since I'm running out of video time, I'm going to pause this while I write, and you can do the same. All right, I got that written down. And you want to do, I know these are big words, but since you're just copying them down, you really need to spell them correctly since they're right here for you to copy down. Okay, because it doesn't do your brain any good to copy down words the wrong way if you're just copying. So we've got change may be positive or negative, and I've got my smiley and my frowny, so I remember which is which. And then on this side, we're going to do the same thing that we did on the other page. We're going to fold this in half, so it's this piece is touching here. Okay. Oh, gosh, sorry. I don't know what the problem is. Hey, that's enough. Anyway, so we're going to open that back up. Okay, so I folded that in half. So I've got these 2 pages. And here, we're going to write a good change. So you need to think of a change that's good and a bad change. So you're going to do the same thing as before. You need to draw a good change and color it and label it, and draw a bad change with your pencil and color it and label it. And remember, some changes can be good and bad, right? One example I use is fire. Fire can be a great change. It can be very helpful and useful, but it can also be very damaging. It can be a bad change. This is the end of today's assignment. We're going to finish tomorrow. So finish this up, do your best work, and you're going to click on part 3 tomorrow. Have fun. See you later.